Congressman and semi-professional baseball player Dan Eubanks, softball player Dan Eubanks. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I don't know about semi-professional. We got decimated on Saturday by the National Guard. Now, if I'm going to lose to somebody, I'm okay losing to them. Alabama did beat us by about 2 runs. So
when was the Guard game? Was that before or after, or how did that work into it?
It was after. So this Saturday, for your listeners that may not be aware of it, we had our first annual Mississippi House of Representatives against the Alabama House of Representatives. We went 9 innings. It was tied 5-5, and everybody opted for one more inning, and we lost by 2. And then right after that game, we had a game with the Mississippi National Guard, which was all the leadership, the generals, the majors, the lieutenants, captains, and they destroyed us. It was, I don't even want to tell you what the score is. It's that bad. In baseball, they never let us around a ball field again if we told you how bad they got us.
If it's 10 runs ahead, you usually stop the game. So what you're saying is it should have been stopped in the second inning.
Well, we didn't stop it because, there was 30 of us from the house that were playing, and they picked our A string to play against Alabama. Yeah. The other 20 of us wanted to play. So, and that's what they let us do. And so we went ahead and played out the game, and it was that's why I got this nice rosy appearance. Not only did I get a lot of sun, but I got
Well, I'm looking at some of the pictures, and some of the people are in post-game form. Let me put it nicely that way. But it was hot out there, and I can't even imagine playing 2 games.
Well, the second game was even hotter than the first.
Yes,
it was probably 120 on the clay. I was about passing out. I was catcher, and it was like, whoo, it's hot, getting up and down, and.
Now, this is going to be an annual thing, the Battle of Tom Bigby? It's going to be annual?
I think it is, and we make it a fundraiser. We raise money for the Children's Hospital, and a little friendly competition between our sister state right next door. And so I think it might become an annual thing.
Anybody pledge anything like a ton of catfish or something like that, or what was the bounty on this, other than the contribution to charity?
No, I think they get the trophy, and we hopefully will get it back next year. But we fed them all catfish the night before, so.
Are they coming over here every year, or do you guys go over there next year?
No, we'll be playing. They'll have the home court advantage the next year if we play them again.
I got you. Let's talk about this deal in Tunica now, because I know that every single day I hear people calling me or texting me, and things are happening up there. It's not a dead issue, but I say that. What do you know about it, and what's the latest as far as what we're talking about? Is there apparently was a proposal from several entities to use the defunct hotel. In an isolated area of the old Grand Casinos Hotel. The hotel's still there. The casino, of course, was demolished. And it's got a little under 300 rooms. It's still in pretty good shape. It needs some restoration work. But there was a bid out there to move up to 2,000 Nicaraguan miners into that. And we were not sure how long, because it was some places talking about we would provide schools and everything else. So we were just confused. I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, if it's temporary, then it's, like they want to say on one hand, you don't need to provide schools, and you don't talk about how much revenue it would provide for the county every year. It's kind of like you undermine your own narrative. But you're absolutely right. You also don't know. They said it was. Whenever they started getting flack, they then started saying it was for a minor illegal processing center. It's a government contractor out of Alabama. They've made billions of dollars doing this kind of thing, and so if your listeners will remember, there was a bit of an uproar. The media got involved. You kind of led the way on helping us get that word out. And it was defeated when it went before the Board of Supervisors 3-2. That just basically means they only got to flip one guy. And I got word last week from somebody that's very closely intimate with the situation and said that they are still working on trying to make it happen. To give you an idea, they had to put up close to $1 million of non-refundable cash just to lock up. When you do a deal like this, you put up money and you say, okay, I get to look at it. I have it for 90 days or 180 days. And it gives you enough time to align your financing, to get contractors out to say, what would you charge us to fix the roof or get the AC working properly, so you know exactly what you're going to spend. And so they have money they're going to lose if this deal doesn't get done. And like we talked about a few weeks back, it's never dead. It's just like the legislature. You know, they say it's not dead till it's dead, and then it's still not dead. As long as they got money on the line and there's a potential or possibility for them to flip somebody to get what they want, then it's still alive. And that's what I'm hearing, is that they're doing what they've got to do to try and convince city leaders and county leaders that it's a great deal. You know, you said something about how do you keep illegals from voting? Well, the best way to keep illegals from voting is to get them out of the country. They're here illegally. And you know, the guy you were talking about that has the Instagram channel, love that guy, that has the little truth bits.
Yes.
He has one where he says, if people don't cheat, why don't we allow mail-in drug tests? You know, we have got to secure our elections, and we're not doing this very justice by just allowing them in and legitimizing it. And here's the thing about minors. They're undocumented. You could be 21 years old and claim that you're 17. We use 20-year-olds in acting roles on TV to pretend that they're high schoolers on all the little, you know, high schooler teen flicks. And so why would it be, you know, beyond the possibility or the realm of thought that a lot of these minors aren't actually minors? They just get better treatment if they claim that they are, because they're undocumented. They have no documentation.
Yeah. Does the casino still own that property? Or do we know for sure who owns?
There's an owner in Florida. Whenever Harris bought the Grand, and then eventually it went out of business. They tried to sell it. No, there were no takers. When all the other markets started, all the other states started legalizing gambling, it started to cannibalize some of Mississippi's market, especially that in the Delta. And so it's a huge facility. And so they chopped up the boat. They didn't want to pay the levy tax anymore, because every year that boat was sitting over there on the other side of the levee, riverside of the levee, they had to pay a levy tax. But the whole, the huge 1,000 rooms and golf course and the RV parking area and shooting range, all that's still intact. And somebody bought it for a fire sale, and they're looking for a buyer. They had one on the hook, because I've been in communication with the guy that was going to do a real economic deal that would revitalize the whole Tunica area. And so he's, he owns it, and he's looking for a buyer, and these guys want it because it checks all the boxes.
Yeah. I'm hoping that person is still working with our state folks and also with the Tunica people to understand long-term they need to back out of this one and take that one, because long-term it's a lot better for Tunica, Mississippi, as far as that deal. But you never know. Money's on the table here, and
money talks
behind the scenes. Yes. The other part of that is this. I have heard, and I'm not spreading rumors or anything, but I've heard if this deal works there, then there are a lot of other places in Mississippi that have defunct buildings that they would work. And there's always people out there who want to make some money, and in the state of Mississippi they would be more than welcome to take it. So I don't know how true that is or not. When we did have Roger Wicker on the other day, at the end of the interview, he did mention something, because I said I wanted to get this into you. I don't know if you heard him say that, but he did say something to the point of they were aware of it at his office, and he said something to me like, I think we may have that stopped, when I asked him about that.
Well,
so, yeah.
Thinking you have it stopped doesn't mean you're for sure you have it stopped. And that's what we got to be, is diligent. And so your listeners, especially if you live in the Northwest Mississippi, stay on the Board of Supervisors there in Tunica. Keep calling them. Remind them that you don't want this in your backyard. We don't want it in our backyard. Yeah. And until we know the deal is dead, Yeah.
Got some other things we want to talk to you about. But Dan, really think about this now. As an old farm guy, on the farm or anywhere else, you never introduce that quantity of outside sources into your homeland or anywhere. I don't care if it's seeds, animals, people. It really doesn't matter. It's just something you do not do for a variety of reasons, from education to infections to politics, everything else. It's a bad idea. More when we come back in a moment. Well, we'll leave that music right there. Back with Dan Eubanks, House of Representatives, District 25. DeSoto County continues to expand and grow and grow. I know that the sheriff up in Tunica County is upset about it, and of course we've talked to Sheriff Tuggle in DeSoto County. They're upset about it, but it's very little they can do. I mean, it's up to the Board of Supervisors for the most part.
Yep. And we have been experiencing a lot of growth, not just recently, but for the last 30 years. And a lot of that flight comes out of Memphis, but we also get a lot from the Delta and the rest of the state. There's jobs. There's a lot of industry moving to the area and a lot of subdivisions being built. And so, I mean, we have all the growth pains that any growing area of the state has, whether it's infrastructure with roads and bridges to sewer and all of that.
I don't think people appreciated for us boomers when we were growing up and active in the Chamber of Commerce and everything else. We were pulling we had hair back then. We were pulling the hair out because Memphis was just sucking us dry. People flowing out of here going to Memphis, Tennessee. Our 61 had more potholes in it. Nobody wanted to fix it. Hopefully, it would stop the people from going to Memphis. It was just we were drying up, certainly in the Mississippi Delta, but in the entire North Mississippi area. And everything going to Memphis. And all of a sudden, you look at it now, it's reversed.
That has certainly turned around, and it's really kind of cool. And if you look at the numbers, DeSoto County accounts for a lion's share of the revenue that the state takes in. We account for almost 9% of the state revenue. So it's an economic engine for Mississippi, and part of that is our close proximity to a major town with international airport and hospitals and all of that. So we're kind of in the sweet spot, but that comes with challenges.
And that's what I want to talk about, some of the main things on your radar for the 2025 session. And it should not go unnoticed that the success of what's going on from Republicans in the House and Senate, even though there's some squabble back and forth, the things that do wind up on the governor's desk that are signed, such as tax breaks in the personal income tax, and I know everybody wants more, but those things have an impact. I mean, look, the governor of Arkansas called a special session in Arkansas last week to address their personal income tax because we were beating them.
Yeah. It makes us competitive, and people will go to parts of the country where they know their dollar will go further. I've talked to several folks that have come from other regions. I've got a neighbor, she moved here to Mississippi, sight unseen, bought a house from California just because she read in an article that her dollars would go further in our state and the taxes were better. And so she's like, okay, well, I got to go where I can afford to live. And she brings her wealth with her. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It's not just does it encouraging industry, but people with means will move to Mississippi if we have favorable tax treatment instead of them leaving. So we live in the Memphis area. There are thousands of FedEx pilots. These guys make $300,000 to $500,000 a year on average, and they won't move to Mississippi for the most part unless they were originally from here, because the taxes. They could stay in Tennessee and not pay an income tax. We could bring all of their wealth, and that creates jobs and services if we could keep it going down.
I'm looking for it because I had it for the longest time and I deleted it. But it was how many people have moved into Tennessee state by state. We are the number one state. I think we lost about it's between 9,000 and 10,000 people in the 10-year census that moved to Tennessee, the number one state where people moved out of one state to another state. That was our number one choice. Out of the 10,000 people, or 10,000 people left here to go to Tennessee. But it was like 13 states across the nation, and a lot of them were maybe not 9,000, but around 8,000, 7,000, 6,000 people from 13 different states that sent the people moving to Tennessee. And if you ask them, the number one reason was as far as tax incentives and no income tax.
Absolutely, and there is real value in that, and that is a real attractant to people. And we can't underestimate what causes people to move. Tennessee is, I mean, their pension plan is in the best shape of any state pension plan in the nation. So they're doing something right. So we need to take a look at kind of, hey, what are they doing? Maybe we need to recreate a few of those things.
So as far as the House, you think that's going to be one of the things that comes back up as far as January is concerned?
Well, I know we are going to have to revisit the whole PERS system. It is in trouble, and what we did was kind of salve what was going to hurt all of the counties and municipalities as far as being hit with a 5% increase, which means they were going to lay people off and raise taxes on Mississippians. But there's still going to have to be some work done there.
Dan, do me a favor, and all of us, keep your ear to the ground. You hear anything, let us know as far as the Tunica deal.
I will.